Most of you who know me know I have a close affinity with South Africa, and I have lots of friends in South Africa. Having lived in South Africa for 17 years, I've become it's a home. It's been a second home. Some of my children were born in South Africa, so it's a place I hold dear to my heart and the people in it. Um, People also know, if they watch my channel, I've got a whole series of videos on South Africa's future, and we've covered every topic regarding South Africa, from business to politics to history to everything going on, opinions and all kinds on all sides of the fence when it comes to South Africa. And I haven't been talking much about it for the last few months because there's been very many other things going on, and quite honestly, in South Africa nothing's changed. The situation is getting slowly worse in many respects from an economic point of view, for the country and for the people who live in the country, quite honestly. I don't think people who live in the UK and Europe and USA and all around the world who don't know South Africa and never been there probably can't really pay much attention to it. It doesn't hit our news channels very often unless there's been a mass killing of some kind, or something really tragic has happened. But quite honestly, South Africa's one big tragic case now. The whole process living in South Africa has become tragedy, because it's a country that was once, it had first world processes and systems. It led the world in many fields. I mean, it was the first country to do a human heart transplant, if you recall. Professor Chris Barnard. But it led the way in so many other fields as well. I know when I went there as a retailer, I was actually impressed, coming from what I thought was the retail capital of the world in London, and was quite honestly impressed with what I saw when I landed in Johannesburg back in 1980. So South Africa has offered a lot to the world, and it's been a friend of the UK for many years. What I'm going to share with you now is basically sorry, that's my dog just walking into my room. What I'm going to share with you now is basically a video made by a young business entrepreneur who works in South Africa, but is basically, from what I can hear in his passionate speech, he's not given up on South Africa, but he's moving on out of South Africa because he can't take any more. And he's making it clear why. And his feelings are basically a large majority of the people in South Africa and how they feel. And I just want to get this message across because it's a powerful message, and I think you should hear it. And put yourself in a position like this, living in a country like this. What would you do? And I've got lots of friends on Facebook, lots of friends around the world who have their own problems, I admit. But think about what's going through him and what's happening in South Africa, and try and just share a little bit of what he's saying in your own thoughts. Could you live through a situation like this? Have a look at this.
I have been feeling something for the last few days that I realized that I needed to get off my chest, and I'm going to give a moment to a few people who want to see this, and I'm just going to make sure that I actually am live and that I'm not rambling. I am live indeed. So I don't know how many people will watch this, but I just felt that I needed to get this off my chest, because I think that what I'm about to say actually impacts all South Africans, and it's been something that I've been wanting to share with each and every one of you for quite some time. So, on Sunday, I wrote an emotional post on Facebook about the ANC, and I decided to make this video because I care for this country, but I'm broken, if I'm honest, and I don't have hope, and I wanted to explain a little bit more why I'm so frustrated, and I wanted to share a perspective with you that I think matters, because I think that what's happened is, for the last 26 years, we have been in an abusive relationship with the ANC. And I think that the abuse has happened for so long that we've actually become apathetic. For those of you who don't know what that means, because I actually didn't always know what that word means, apathetic is really just the idea that we just become lazy, we just become complacent, we almost don't do anything about it. And then in the last few months, COVID has hit, and what it's forced is that now we are in survival mode as South Africans. So it's very hard to fight against this very corrupt government when really your focus is just, how do we put food on the table? Now, whenever someone in my position says something like this, it can turn into a race row. But I want to clarify this too. So when I say that I think South Africans have been in an abusive relationship with the ANC, I'm not just talking about as a white male. In fact, I'm talking about the people who have been given the biggest smack by government are actually people of color. But that said, I am white. I want to say for the record that I'm aware of my privilege. I'm aware of the fact that I've been afforded many opportunities in my life just because of the pigmentation of my skin. I don't really come from money as such, and I've worked really hard on the businesses that I've owned and started. And I have built a very specific business, not just to be there to trade, but I've actually built a business to try and make a difference in this country. But nonetheless, I'm still lucky because, even if I don't come from money, I have been given certain opportunities in my life. I guess even just by virtue of the fact that I have people take me more seriously in the boardroom or in meetings because I'm white. My point is, I'm aware of that privilege. But I think that's why I'm so frustrated, because when I look around in South Africa, I don't feel like things are getting better. I actually feel like things are getting worse, and not just for me, worse for everyone. I'm lucky in that I'm in a position where I've learned how to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And so no matter where I go in the world and no matter what I do, I'll be fine. I've studied the art of value creation in depth. And so I understand how an economy works, and I understand that money is a byproduct, really, of solving a problem for other people, a valuable problem for other people. And I've learned what skills are valuable. So I have an ability to make money regardless of where I am. So I'm not coming at you because I feel like South Africa doesn't have that. I'm just so frustrated, and I don't think we speak about it enough. So, I put this post out on Facebook the other day, and I was just on Sunday, and I was so frustrated, and it landed up going viral. But I think what's happening is we're not speaking about some stuff enough. We've gotten to a place where we make excuses for the shitty excuse that is the ANC. And I'm tired. I'm tired of making excuses, and I'm tired of hearing the shitty excuses by everybody else. I don't buy it. The way I think about it is like this. As an entrepreneur, if I own a business and this business of mine called Suits and Sneakers runs an event and the event isn't successful, who do I blame? I can go and say, yes, but this person who worked for me wasn't fully responsible, etc. But who's actually the person to blame? You would kind of have to point fingers to me, right? As the CEO and director and shareholder of the business, right? I'm at fault. And so I'm just wondering, don't we elect governments to effectively administer a country and lead it toward growth? Isn't the point of government to make sure that the lives of citizens are better, Why is it that we can't actually get to a place where we hold government accountable? Why? What about unemployment? Aren't they there to create the high levels of employment? You know? So I want to just give you a little bit of context, and then I'm going to kind of close this off. I wake up on Saturday morning, and my domestic worker, my old domestic worker, before I moved to London, and obviously I'm back in South Africa for the last few months, but this domestic worker, who's a genuinely beautiful soul, sends me a WhatsApp message in sheer desperation, and she's not the type to ask. She's never been. She sends me a WhatsApp to say that she doesn't even have enough money to eat. And you can imagine that being in that position, this sweet lady, you know, she's like 60 years old and she can't even eat. And it just bugged me so badly. I ended up helping her out, but it actually went beyond that. I just sat there and I realized that she's one of millions of people. And then Sunday morning I wake up and I'm trying to do a whole bunch of work, and boom, load shedding happens. And I just think to myself, do you realize that load shedding has been around for 13 years? 13 years. Why is that acceptable? Imagine paying someone to fix a problem for 13 years and they can't get it right. Why is this acceptable? I'll go one further with you. How about the state-owned enterprises? Because a lot of people will say, but you know, you're white and you're just disenfranchised with a black government. And that's not true at all. What it is I'm just looking at a track record and I'm starting to say, like, this is actually unacceptable. So I read this article earlier that irregular government expenditure in the 2018 and 2019 financial year rose to 61 billion rand. That's up from 50 billion a year before. Okay? I mean, just think about those numbers. It's extraordinary. Then let's look at the track record. The ANC inherited fairly well-functioning SOEs, which they've destroyed, not by my reckoning, by the Auditor General's reckoning, and we can see it. How about Eskom? Clearly, our consumption of electricity has actually gone down in the last 13 years, and yet we can't power enough households. SAA, literally fucked. Denel, Prasa, SABC, broken, corrupted, looted. The SA Post Office, Road Accident Fund, Petro SA. How about this? Did you know this year, 60% of all South African revenue will go toward paying government employees' salaries? In 2019, it was 47%. Do you see a fucking problem? The economy. I don't know how to explain this for people. That the economy is broken. If you think COVID has shut it down, it's been 26 years of mismanagement by people who don't understand business. But what they do understand emphatically well is the ability to put their hands in the cookie jar, not just because Mark White Male says so, because the Auditor General does an audit every single year and literally tells us what's going on. We measure something so that we can manage it. This is not me making up facts. UIF. What a joke it's been in the last few weeks. I've been part of a few different entities that have been trying to use the UIF funds to create to pay the shortfall, because companies are really struggling during UIF. You know, for this last month, we still haven't been able to pay some people from the UIF perspective because the UIF website's been down for a matter of weeks. And I thought about this. We're in this abusive relationship, but it's because we in effect allow it to collectively continue. We allow these people to take as and when they want, and then we elect them again with zero consequence. And then, of course, COVID hits. COVID hits, and everybody loses their mind when Cyril shuts us down early. And I get it. Even I wanted to like Cyril. But you know what's happened? We've been punched so hard for so long, that we will look for any glimmer of hope. I thought I was losing my mind in March when Facebook went nuts with Cyril, my president. Are you kidding? Are you fucking blind to what's been happening for 26 years? But okay, he shuts us down for 3 weeks. And the whole idea is to delay the spread early. It's to prepare the healthcare system. It's a bunch of things. And I look back on what they did, and I think to myself that we have hit the bottom of the barrel as to the stuff that we're willing to applaud. Because obviously in the last few weeks since then, in the last few months, there have been the most ambiguous rules and policies that have been created. You're seeing them all right now. You can't visit your family, but you can get into a taxi full of people. We're not anti the idea of the taxi being full. We're saying that there's a major disparity between the two. It's illegal to have your loved ones at home, but you can go visit them at a casino. You know, what I realized is the ANC simply won't change because they don't have to. As citizens, we allow them to continually do this, and we collectively vote them back in. They're allowed to keep putting their hand in the cookie jar. So during COVID, these people with the worst track record have been responsible not only for our healthcare system, but the economy and our lives. And what a mess. You've got people in government with no business experience at all making business decisions for us, like when and where restaurants can and can't open. That's why it's easy for these government officials, if I'm honest, to say things like, and I quote, "This economy is a white capitalist, monopoly economy. Let it burn to the ground." You know why you can say that, government official? Because you get your governmental salary at the end of the month. It's easy. And of course, you can make all these ambiguous rules, like restaurants can open up, but they can't serve alcohol. Or, you can decide that restaurants can only deliver, but they're not allowed to have people come and sit down. You can decide that e-commerce stores actually aren't allowed to operate within the first 3 weeks. You can do that because you get your salary at the end of the month, but you have no clue how a business actually runs. You just understand how to continually put your hand in the cookie jar and take. And you know what the ANC is excellent at doing? Turning around and blaming everybody else. And they use the atrocities, and they were atrocities, of the apartheid government to divide us. So the ANC government is excellent in saying, look, transformation, it hasn't happened yet. You see, one of the things I've learned in the last few weeks, again and again and again, is that there's no trust between the ANC and South Africa. For example, I actually think it's fair to say that South Africans are not law-abiding citizens. And I think that's because we don't actually believe that the people who create the laws are doing so to protect our interests. And we don't actually believe that the ANC will follow their own laws. In fact, we know it, because you'll see cops speeding through red robots, they'll take bribes. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on. And the laws almost never make sense anymore. So we start to see laws much more as suggestions. And then the ANC wants to control, so they'll create even more ambiguous, crazy laws instead of trusting the public, because they want to be in control, but they don't understand control. And so the government keeps pointing the fingers at us, like, you guys were the naughty ones, when in reality, they've set a tone for this. And this is even followed into the way companies react. Now, I'm not justifying that companies like Steinhoff can literally defraud their shareholders for millions, but what it shows you is that at the top, leadership has set a precedent. They've showed you for what's possible and what's not, and they've showed you what's allowed and what's not. They've really set that scene. Now, I'm very passionate about this, because when I look around in South Africa and I see how broken things are, it bugs me so badly. And when I try to talk to people, they'll say, look, I don't want to get involved with politics. And we tend to have this mindset that politics doesn't impact us directly. But doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? When the ANC steals and loots, aren't you impacted? Isn't there less money to go around? When service delivery doesn't work, and that relates to politics, doesn't that impact you? When the economy is broken and there is less of a market for you to attack, and that means less money. Doesn't that impact you? When there are high levels of unemployment, doesn't that lead to more crime, which impacts you? And when the state starts acting in ways that genuinely start to infringe on everybody's rights, doesn't that impact you? But you know what? Outside of the people who keep voting for the ANC, many of the people watching even this, we've become apathetic. We don't want to do anything about it. And I guess here's my point. Here's what I'm trying to say. That although governments are allowed to make mistakes, I guess one of the differentiating factors of how much we let slide is intent. And you know what? When I look at the track record of the ANC purely for the last 26 years, you'd have to agree that they do not intend for the best of us. Now, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to London at some point, and I'm going to leave this country, because I believe that as long as the ANC is in power, this country's fucked. Now, there are many people who can't do that, and it's a pity. But here's what you can do. You can stop being apathetic. You've got this thing called social media, and you can at least stand up and have your voice heard, because you've got a certain microphone to an audience that can hear you. And at the very least, you can do something about it in the form of telling people that what you're seeing is unacceptable. We can at least get to the point that we can actually say that something isn't right. We can stop being so scared, and we can start drawing a line in the sand. That's what I've decided to do. I'm not proud to be South African. You know what I love? I love the terrain and the beauty that is South Africa. This country is beautiful. I'm a traveler. I've traveled thousands and thousands of kilometers across this country. It's beautiful. Its people, by and large, are beautiful. We are a beautiful nation. Having lived in London and in another country, I've seen what happens when I come back home, how warm and friendly we are. But South Africa as the nation, South Africa as a place to live, this is not right. It's not on. And it's time where we started talking about it. Not at Braz, not round the corner. It's time that we started doing something about it. And at the very least, we can start to say that what's happening right now is not right. We can draw a line in the sand. We can have some fucking balls and actually do something about it. That's me. That's what I'm doing. Now, I've been trying to run a business for the last 5 years and try and make a difference in the form of education. And I think that that is important. And I think there are many things that we can do. And you can actually pick. But doing something matters, and doing nothing makes you absolutely part of the problem. There are many things wrong. So the other night when Cyril gets on TV and he starts putting up all these laws, how about all the stuff they didn't speak about? How about all the things that we just let slide? I'm tired. I'm tired of it. And I hope that you're tired of it too. But I want to tell you this. Make no fucking mistake. We are in an abusive relationship. We are getting clouted every single day by this government. And we just want this glimmer of hope that things will be better. So we make excuses for it. And we tell other people to just be positive. Don't talk about the negative. And I get there's a space in that we can't be negative all the time, that it's got to lead to something. But pretending that this shit isn't happening, or just keeping quiet because it's just too much and what can I do? Get on social media, make a video about it, tell other people that it's unacceptable. There is one glimmer of hope, I think, and that is Herman Mashaba. I have no affiliation to him, but again, I like to look at things in pure track record. Here's a guy who became the mayor of Joburg and he started creating movement. Maybe he did it for the wrong party in the end. But there's a guy that we could be getting behind. The other thing that we could be doing is stop with the shitty attitude that politics is not our gig, that we shouldn't get involved. I have the means to get out of this country, and I'm doing that. It's a matter of time before I get back to London. That is not a negative thing. It's that strategically, much like a relationship might not be working for me, or a job is no longer serving me, this country is not serving me. But if that's not your gig, do something else. Until that time, I'll have a business here. I'll keep doing my work from afar. I'll keep trying to make a difference, but I won't hedge the future of my life and my children's life on that side. I hope you actually grow some balls, the lot of you, and you do something about it. But you know what? What you do is none of my concern. I just know that when I go to bed tonight, I'll feel good. I'll feel good that I actually said something about it and that I try to encourage you to do the same. So you can share this video and you can get it out to other people, or just make your own video and just simply stand put and say that something's not right. I think Herman Mashaba is someone that we should be getting behind. We should actively be courting and campaigning for, because he's probably the last hope that we have. But even then, the chances of most of you doing something about it are slim. It's what differentiates a lot of people. You can see I'm angry. That's how I am. I'm doing what I need to do about it, both in the form of getting out, but doing something while I've got the business here. I hope for your sake, genuinely, that you'll do the same thing. I hope that you'll actually stand up and do something about it. I hope that percolates for you. Cheers.
Well, I can't disagree with him, and he says it with good passion. What can I say? Look, I'm not South African, so I can't even start to feel the way someone like that feels, and I know a lot of my friends out there feel exactly the same. Something's got to move. Something's got to move. The ANC certainly can't be allowed to stay in for another term, but my concerns are, if it's not the ANC, what will it be? Talk to you again soon. Bye bye.